Hey guys, look at me. I got a little Santa hat on. There we go. I whip my hair back and forth. My Santa hair back and forth. Uh anyway, good evening everybody. My name is Rich Tessel. This is the Two Guys Tech Homelab Hour, and I'm running solo this week. Brandon is out, and look at this. I was looking at the chat earlier. Aragorn Strider had said, which stream is the real Slim Shady? And two things there. One, there are two streams, and here's the deal. StreamYard, which is the platform we use to do this, has this thing now where you can do like a concurrent vertical stream for people who hold their phones vertically, I guess, and horizontal, which is what you typically see when you are looking at the I should turn the music on. See, put that back on. Cool, listen to that. You guys have to tell me it's too loud. Anyway, as I'm doing this solo, things might be a little weird, but if it's not working, guys, let me know. Kevin, good to have you in the chat. Geek of all trades, good to have you. Leavix, Sakura. The other thing to the two things for Aragorn's benefit, I may have been one of those kids that dyed their hair blonde during the Eminem craze. That's not why I lost my hair, but it probably has something to do with it. Except, a lot of kids back then, with obviously I have dark hair. I would go buy the hair bleaching kit and I would bleach my hair, but my hair would come out like an orangish color because it was too dark. And so, as you can imagine, I didn't look anything like Eminem. I didn't have like that bright colored hair. I had this dirty brownish orangey colored whatever. Anyway, guys, last week was the holiday. Yeah, I lost my Geek of all trades. You lost your hair because you're in IT. Part of me, especially after the week that I seem to be having lately. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. So, word of caution for all you would-be IT persons: if you like your hair, become a hair model. I don't know where I'm going with that. Sorry. Anyway. Moving on. Last week here in the United States was the Thanksgiving holiday. And I keep forgetting that our Canadian brothers and sisters have a Thanksgiving as well. And that's like a month ahead of ours. So happy late Thanksgiving to our Canadian friends as well, since, they have a Thanksgiving too. I don't know if theirs has to do with pilgrims and Christopher Columbus, but and all the horrific things that happened because of that. But I digress. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. This is the 2GT Home Lab Hour, where we hang out, we talk about Home Lab stuff, we talk about the videos and the content they do on the channel, we talk about the tech news, we just whatever hits us, and a fair bit of like member berries weirdness too, which is probably not a healthy thing, but here we go. After the show, I hop into our Discord, and we do kind of an after hours hangout where we all just kind of hang out and chat, talk about what we did at work over the week, and what's Axis grinding us, how much DDR5 RAM costs, those kind of things. That's what we do there. It's free and open to everybody. The Discord is also it is a great community, and I was just looking at it right before the stream started. I know I like gush about this, but like if there's one thing that I'm proud of the most, it's like meeting all of these, these like-minded people who are into technology and computers, and they're geeky and they're nerdy, and I really, really enjoyed that. So join the Discord; it's free. You can find the links all over the places where we put links, wherever those might be. I usually have a story, like a personal story, but other than it was just Turkey Day, and I owe you guys an apology for making bad planning decisions, and it was actually my wife's fault. I'm going to blame her. She said to me on Tuesday morning that your sister is coming to town and you have to pick them up from the airport. And I was like, but I have a live show. And she's like, it's family. And I went, it's family. And so then I canceled because anyway. So that's about it really. I want to kick the show off by talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Cyber Week, etc. But blame the producer. That's a good point, Leavix. But I gotta say, and I'm hoping that you guys in the chat can either back me up on this, or you can set me straight. But Is it just me, or did the cyber insert, like Black Friday, Cyber Week, Cyber whatever, kind of suck? Like, I saw there's some deals, but they're for deals for things that I'm sorry, Geek of all trades, sister got feet, right? Oh man, yes, she does. It's so do her young children, but it's like it's a 37-mile walk. But yeah, so Sakura says Black Month sucks in general. Yeah, it's I go into every post Thanksgiving, like late November, early December thing, really hoping you guys are really just, you know what? After the show, guys, I'm going to go ahead and send my sister text message and say, all of the chatters in the live show think that you should have walked. And so next year or next time I see you, you have to walk. Anyway, but I go into the Thanksgiving, like the holiday purchase season, really hoping that this is going to be different. Like this is going to be the year that you'll be able to buy technology at a good deal, and that you'll be able to, even if it's like the tail end of the technology ramp towards, before new products come out in the beginning of the next year. But, it just wasn't the case. And so we get hit with things like this. How about them RAM prices? We talk about this. I don't know, guys, in the chat who are in my Discord, we talk about this, every day, every single day. I know people in the Discord who have, who sold unused RAM and made some money. So Geek of all trades said, it's like Ugreen bribed Amazon to be pretty much the only NAS in Black Friday deals. Yeah, press F in the chat for RAM, but look at these prices. So sponsored, that's only 32 gigs of RAM, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, the DDR4 era stuff, we were probably around maybe $120, maybe for 32 gigs. You could probably get to somewhere like anywhere from 60 to 80 for 16, right? But yeah, if you have extra RAM, I guess the short story is, because Sean just said this in the chat, like if you have DDR5 RAM that's just sitting in a package, or if you have DDR5 RAM in a computer and you bought 64 gigs and man, you only need 32, sell it. So Geek of all trades said, you know what? I'm not above going back to my DDR4 machine if I can sell my box for double what you paid for. Absolutely. Like these prices. And the thing is, I don't want to make it like I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Look at these prices. We're looking, this is 32 gigs. That's what it is. They're all around 300. I mean, obviously this one at the top was 360, 335. Gosh, it's just a 16 gigs kit of sodium. It's just $600. I know I was gonna say, is this made of gold? But yeah, there actually is gold there. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. It's Geek of all trades. In the words of Dave Chappelle, those are crack prices, man. Yeah, that's true. We live in some interesting times. And I've been told, although I haven't know if I've necessarily seen it, and you guys can corroborate this, from the vendors, the server vendors, I've been having lots of conversations with them like I typically do. And, the ones that are still sitting on stock of DDR5 that they basically pre-purchased for production, their prices are still normal. But I've been told by Dell and others that, we start to get into the new year and you're going to start seeing 25% increases in just the cost of iron because of that RAM. In a server, you only put in like 8 gigs of RAM, right? Of course not. You're like 768 gigs, a terabyte of RAM. Like I'm building out hardware right now that has a single terabyte of RAM in each host. And it's all DDR5 and it's ECC. So do the math on that. But anyway, back to this. I wanted to say, I've been told by those vendors as well that the next big thing that's coming is NVMe storage prices are going to start blasting to the moon as well. So Geek of all trades said, Can we submit a deal registration for just RAM from Dell? I don't need your damn power edge. Just give me the RAM. You probably could. You could probably. They sell. You know what? That makes me just dying of interest. Let's go to Dell, and let's just say I just want to buy DDR5. Can I? Because I know they'll sell parts. Oh no, no. That's a Dell label on Kingston RAM, right? Kingston Fury, I believe, and that's 16 gigs, and they want I'm not on the consumer side, friends. Yes, so right. Game Over Dave is like responding about the storage thing. The next thing I've heard is that they're coming for your storage next. So, I mean that's 8 terabyte, but that's mind blowing. This is still a fair deal for the most part. That they're going to start creeping up. That's what I've been told. The vendors are telling me that when they've consumed all your RAM, then they will come for your storage. So, yeah. So if you're looking to buy storage, particularly NVMe storage, I would recommend you. It's a holiday. The sucky part of this, guys, is it happens right at the end of the year when people are like, I can't buy stuff from my Homelab or from my gaming PC. I got to buy stuff from my girlfriend, my wife, my boyfriend, my husband, my kids. Yeah, back to floppies. That's right, Dave. We're going back to floppies. Anyway, that's kind of where we're headed. We're headed towards hard times in the PC building world. So, mark my words. And again, I'm not making it up. I wish I was. I wish I was just a mouthpiece saying things that wasn't real. But I've been told by a lot of people in the know that NVMe is next, and they're already seeing it. So buy them now. Anyway, there were some actually good deals that I wanted to kind of talk about, because I asked the Discord if there was anything that was worth doing, and we had a gentleman in the Discord send us like, the one thing that you can get a good deal on still is certification bundles from, like, here's the Linux Foundation, which was dropped to us by one of our Discord members. And like, it's funny that there's a lot of Kubernetes stuff in here, and I know that our Kubernetes people are in the chat right now. I'm like, you did all that hard work, guys. Now go get yourself the coursework and cert, and get yourself your Kubernetes certification and to the moon with your career, right? So there you go. This is it. But there's some great deals. I was looking at these deals earlier, and also, if you work in the security industry or you want to, the ISC Squared Foundation's got a 10% off of their all of their stuff, and so they've got, this one's free. You guys can take this right now. By the way, the entry-level cybersecurity all of it's free for this one. You can just go take it, and they give out the learning document, the learning curriculum, everything is there. You can just do it, and you can add a cert to your after your name. You can be guy or lady CC at the end. Anyway, highly recommend it. But they've got some good deals. So it's the soft things, not the hard things, that we get with the deals on. We're getting the like, you can't have the hardwares, but you can have discounts on certs, stuff like that, which I think is, honestly, it's better than nothing. But okay, and Geek of All Trades said the new AI certs from Microsoft have promo codes too. He got one for $20. Let's do this year. Instead of having RAM, instead of having NVMe storage, let's just go buy certs for our friends and family. Here's a certificate to go learn and get certified in Kubernetes, which other than my friends here in the Discord, I don't know who that would apply to. But anyway, if you did, just one last thing, guys. If you did find good deals and you want to share them, either drop them in here or go to our Discord and share them, and just to kind of share that love, because it's been rough. Yeah, Geek of All Trades exam vouchers make great stocking stuffers. You won't be forgotten. Maybe throw in a chocolate orange too, Geek of All Trades, while you're at it. Like, soften or sweeten the deal of an exam voucher with a chocolate orange. You guys do chocolate oranges, right? That was like every single year there's a chocolate orange. The one you like smack it against the counter and you open it up and it's chocolate orangey. Am I the only person here? Am I taking crazy pills? All right, let's move on. So I wanted to spend some time in today's home lab talking about Wazoo. I'm going to say Wazoo. I like Wazoo. And Terry's Hyper-V Orange. I didn't see Terry in the chat, unfortunately, though, Dave. That's funny. Anyway, what is Wazoo? Let's move on. Let's actually talk about some really hardcore nerd stuff. Waz up. Yes. Budweiser commercials. Wazoo is basically a SIM and an XDR tool, but it's open source. And you know, it's not really the realm of the channel. It's the kind of stuff that I do in my day job. I don't use Wazoo. I use more enterprise tools that have a dollar value behind them that are higher than $3. Wazoo is free. It's entirely open source. But I did want to have. It's always important, no matter what you do, if you work in technology, that you take some time. That's why we have home labs. Part of the reason why we have home labs, not just to host Plex, but also to like a learning ground to experience things so that you can go into your day job and be like, look, I know how to do this thing, and we can potentially use this as a tool, right? Anyway, so I started playing with Wazoo and in earnest way back when, probably a year ago at this point. And I know Tom Lawrence, a friend of the channel, he's made content around Wazoo as well. But I spun it up. I played it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't have the bandwidth or the mental facility to this. So faculties, I didn't have the time. That's what I'm trying to say. But I had some time over the tail end of the Thanksgiving weekend, and so I spun it up and said I was going to give it an actual go, an honest to goodness go. And so I want to walk through it and show you guys what I've got after a couple days, a week or so of actual data coming in, and show you what it is, because this is free. You guys can run this in your home labs. I'm running it on a single virtual machine. It can be deployed as a cluster if you've got a big environment. Maybe Sakura with his many servers could use a cluster, but this is a single VM with enough storage is plenty to run Wazoo. Anyway, let's see if it's going to force me to log back in, because every time I do this, it tells me it's got a really short login window, which is super frustrating. Anyway, deploy is super easy. I can show you that real quick. Their documentation for it is like super simple and easy. Like it's like, run this curl command and then write down the password it generates, and then basically you're off to the races. I gave it a bunch of storage. I think I gave it 2 terabytes of backend storage just because I wanted to store the logs. And as a person who works in SIMs and XDRs all the time, it's kind of the thing you need to do is have lots of storage space. So it's really super easy to deploy. Anyway, let's go back here and log into this. All right, so I have a lot of events. I did a thing. I wanted to send all of my Unify logging to this as well. So I had to. One thing I'm not too jazzed about Wazoo about is they really want you to use their agents, and the agents are free. They're I can show you the agent section here. Like they have, if we go to deploy an agent, they have Linux agents, RPM, and Deb. So you basically hit Red Hat and you hit Debian and stuff, right? Ubuntu, whatnot. There's a Windows MSI, and they support Mac, Intel, and Apple Silicon as well. So, which I did install on this machine. You can't see this right below here. And you fill out this information. You give your agent a name, Bobby, and then you assign it to a group, whatever that group might be. And then I gotta go up here. Let's just say it's a Apple Silicon. And then it generates a command. You copy pasta that into your command line. On Windows, it wants you to run it as a PowerShell command. I can go up here and click on this, and it'll readjust this. So it becomes a PowerShell command. So you just run it with admin privileges. It automatically downloads it, automatically installs it, and then there's a secondary like start the agent, or what is it for Apple. Let's go in here. Yeah, it just tells it to launch it and add it to your startup. So there's full coverage for it. But the problem with this pure agent deployment approach, and one that I'm not a huge fan of, is that you leave out anything that creates a syslog, right? Sure, you get your VMs, you get your physical PCs, but what about your firewalls? That's a huge log generator. What about your storage systems like TrueNAS? You can't do an agent in TrueNAS because, IX Systems, TrueNAS, as they've rebranded themselves as now, doesn't give you access to install an RPM. So you need to ship logs. That's the only way around it. So you have to make modifications to Wazoo itself to accept syslogs. But when you do, you open up the floodgates, obviously, especially with the firewall stuff. But this is the overall dashboard. It's broken into kind of some big sections that give you, like, obviously 24-hour stats. And these are its assessment of the data that's come in, right? We can look at any one of these things, and it's an elk stack. Like, all of these tools, even the expensive one that I work in as a day job, is still an elk stack in the background. It's elastic, and so if you've seen any of these style setups before, they all basically look the same. And you can see, like most of the stuff that's coming in here, firewall. Let's see. These are going to be syslogs that are coming out of the Unify firewall, right? There's the firewall's name, 2GT, UDM, Pro Max, date stamp, the agent, everything is stamped with Wazoo because it's being a syslog that ingests it. And that tells you traffic from, and then it'll come down here and tell you some stuff. We can expand this out a little bit. Give you the log information. And it just collects the stuff. But we can also, and there's a couple different indexes that we don't have any results in that. But we have everything in the state inventory? No. Well, let's go back to this. So one of the nice things that it gives you can build dashboards. Obviously, that's it. Let's go back to this. So I want to show this. Like the threat intelligence. We all believe in our home labs that even though we're apt-get or apt updating and dist upgrading everything, we believe that we are doing all we can to make sure our systems are up to date. However, this system shows you a lot more in terms of what you actually have in terms of vulnerabilities in your home network or your home lab or your business, right? Like if you're running a small shop and you need to, if you don't have some sort of log aggregation and monitoring tool set up, this is free. Like, what are you waiting for? Go get it and do it. But like you can see some of the top vulnerabilities. There are things I don't like about this. All of the enterprise level types of SIM XDR tools. XDR stands for Extended Detection Response, by the way. I keep saying XDR without explaining it. But when they find a vulnerability, you can actually go and click it and it will show you. But if I do this here, like, it's just kind of show me. I want to copy this. Sorry guys, I got to make this smaller. I apologize, but limitations, so I can copy this. But if I wanted to actually find out what this CVE is, I have to go and search for said CVE. There's no link to it. So we can go here and see. And it explains what this is, right? And you can find out details. A lot of the times you can find details about how to fix said things too. What Sean would say, what you want me to, you mean we have to do into an OS and make sure TLS1 v1 is disabled? So how many times I've had to deal with that in Windows systems? Yeah, well, you should. That's what we're talking about here, Sean. We're talking about trying to make sure that you've got your stuff taken care of. But it shows you the vulnerabilities and where they are, and then you can go deal with it, which is super, super, super importante. Like some of these are relatively new. Let's see what this CVE is, just for funsies. Funsy onesies. Oh, and by the way, I know I'm talking about this because it's caught my interest, but unless you guys really, really, really think that this is something you want me to make content around, I'm not going to actually make a video around Wazoo. I feel like we're already on a kind of an esoteric path in terms of like video content we make anyway, being home labbers. But if I said home labbers and security for the home lab, I feel like we'd be down another level. But if it's something that's important to you, let me know. I will genuinely take your considerations into account. So this one, CV 2025, when did this release? I'm missing the dates on this. I really would. Okay. So this came out in February. February 10th, 2025 is when this was released. But I have systems, and if I click on this one, these 4 Linux systems here have this vulnerability. And what should blow your mind is, and what blows my mind, is that these are all patched and updated OSs. You know, these are fully updated as of earlier, right? And I tell you what, the fact that this still exists, actually, I'm not gonna lie, this is extremely common in the world of like security. When you're trying to squash bugs in a company or in business, and you've done all the patching you think you need to do, and then you come back and you're like, why are these still here? Well, because they are dependencies that are vulnerable that a piece of software needs, and if that piece of software was to, the dependencies were to change versions, it might break the software, and so it doesn't get changed. So at any rate, so this is really really caught my attention. This shows you like my Plex server. My Plex server is a little behind. It's in 2204. It's still supported, still up to date. I mean, it's fully up to date, and these are behind, right? So there are, speaking of Docker, so I have a VM called Docker, and that runs all my Docker, my containers, right? I'm not a Kubernetes machine like some in our Discord. There is native, like it's got a Docker functionality built into it where it says under cloud security, but I cannot make it work right. And as is tradition with all open source software platforms, like things sometimes work fantastic, and sometimes no matter what you do, they don't work like the documentation says. And because it's free, you can't call up the support people and say, what's going on here? This is not working right. So I have yet to crack that egg. But I did want to show you, there's some threat hunting. Let's go look at threat hunting. So here's the default threat hunting dashboard. Shows you, and I have Windows machines in here too, by the way. So Polaris, for example, this system right here, Polaris is my Windows Server 2019 domain controller, which, if you're wondering, is legitimately licensed. And you know, it's the thing that does my Windows ADS stuff. Like allows me to play with Active Directory. But you know, we can look at some of these, can find out where they are, dig into deeper on them, and really, I have this deployed on not everything. I wish I had deployed on everything, but this is my Mac. The Mac's right there. Plex is obviously my Plex server. Docker is my Docker server. I threw it on, I installed fine right out of the box without any issues on Proxmox, right? Proxinator is my Proxmox server. I have a Tailscale VM that is basically my Tailscale node, exit node for my home network. Garage is the Windows PC. Polaris is the domain controller. Nextcloud is my Nextcloud instance, and this is the Two Guys Tech website, right? But they get I mean, being able to monitor those things is a vast majority of my quote unquote production network. But just being able to dig through and kind of go through it. There's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't set up yet. There's the ability to send email alerts when things get triggered. You can have it send you Discord webhooks and things like that, right? Actually, in the alerting thing, you can create monitors and alerts for any number of events that occur. It's really incredibly deep as a whole. And for open source monitoring software platforms that usually cost tens of thousands of dollars to use, that's a pretty sweet deal, gotta say. So go check it out. I highly recommend you check it out, and because it doesn't cost anything. You know, this is the IT hygiene dashboard that shows me all my OSs, and apparently I have a Google Chrome helper that's a heavy process user. Look, my top port is DNS. Who would have thought? That's funny. These are I love how I have different CPUs here when I only have one. We'll have to check and see why that's set like that. But you know, this will do obviously this is information about the OS kernel that's running. Now this one is behind. Look at that. That guy is a little bit behind. He's on 87. This one's on 88. It does software inventory. Again, all of these functions are based on do you have the agent installed? You don't get this through syslogging. You have to use the agent to do this stuff. Yeah, you can see this. All of these things that are on there. And there's pages and pages and pages and pages. That's just my Mac alone. Anyway, nice to see that stuff. Homebrew. If you have a Mac, Homebrew is the only way to do it. And processes, you can look into these things. And these are all pulled from that agent I talked about. But this is cool. I mean, these sort of things you don't get for free typically. And so spin it up. Have fun with it. That's my high recommendation. But yeah, I am going to play with this some more and I'll show you guys. I don't have any dashboards built. I think it was Sean Woods was just saying in the chat that like the next biggest thing is to learn how to build your dashboards. Back in the day, that was when you ran a sim. That's what your day job was building dashboards for people and getting that sort of information. So I wish this has had a little bit of the dashboards built in. For something that's open source, you'd think there would be a bunch of standard dashboards, but there's just not a bunch of reporting. There's just no built-in reporting by default, that's kind of a bummer. Gets the data, does some macro stuff. Like I said, you get these, the macro information here, file integrity information, like, oh, look, these things are, but you don't get any really nice quality reports or dashboards unless you make them. But wazoo. That's right. Oh, Shao Technologies. Yeah, we're looking at wazoo. That's it. Yeah. Anyway, we came in late and we're about to drop off this. So have a look at that. I did want to talk about what's next video-wise. The next video, because I've been getting a lot of pressure for it, is a new relook at Veeam. Veeam has just, I know we're all pro PBS here. I'm not saying that you should stop using PBS if you're a Veeam user. I think that Veeam has a very important place in the world when it comes to the business and the enterprise. And Veeam has really just been on a rocket ship trajectory lately. Obviously it supports VMware, obviously it supports Nutanix, but just added Proxmox last year, basically. They just finished their scale computing hypercore integration. So Veeam supports scale computing. It's going to support Verge OS. There'll be native API backups, client agentless backups for Verge OS. And they've announced XCP-ng, Zen, HPE's Morpheus hypervisor stuff. And it's like, they got the message. Veeam got the message. And that was, it's not going to pay to stick around with just VMware or Hyper-V as your own backup thing. And so Veeam is really, really taken off. But the big thing that I'm going to look at in the next video is going to be in version 13, they dropped the requirement for you to have a Windows server to run Veeam backup and recovery, basically the on-premise backup stuff. And it's all a hardened Linux system, you install it off an ISO, or you download the OVA and you deploy the OVA if that's your cup of tea. Throw in your license and then you're off to the races and you can start using it just like you would. And so I think it's time to do a video about that. And we have somebody in our Discord who is very familiar with Veeam, I'll put it that way, has been adamant that I give this a go. And so I'm gonna give it a go. So that's and the thing about Veeam, since we're talking about it, is, they give it away for free. Let's see if is it under downloads. That's not it, is it? But you can get an NFR license. Where's this? No, that's the. So you can get an NFR license. The NFR license has some limitations, right? But you can back up anything with the NFR license. I think it's just limited to I think it's 20 workloads. So if you have more than 20 VMs, obviously that's not going to work for you. But I mean, Veeam's not going to give away unlimited workloads. That's just not the way it's going to work. So you can get NFR. Anyone can get an NFR. You can just tell them when they ask, what's your job? I wrote down blogger. I'm not a blogger. I'm an IT professional, right? And do YouTube on the side, but you can say you're an IT engineer, you're a whatever, and you'll be able to get it. And so it's, and the fact that you don't need a Windows server to run anymore, learn it anyway. Why not? So next video. Yeah, it's Shadow Technologies. It's 20 workloads. Veeam is, I know I'm talking very pro about Veeam because backup is the long pole in the tent when it comes to any sort of migration from any hypervisor to another. I mean, imagine now, I do want to talk, don't let me forget that. But I don't like that they've moved to workloads. They used to do socket-based licensing, right? That you could, whatever that cost was, you had X amount of sockets and you could back up any workload. They changed that. And so it's only socket-based licensing for Hyper-V and VMware, probably because they're the ones that are going down in the utilization and everyone else is on a trajectory up. So now it's workload-based. So, but yeah, 20 VMs, Dave. At any rate, but really, you know, when you look at, just ponder this for a moment, because it's the thing that I think, if any of you are IT professionals, that this is what you're doing for a living, we talk about moving now a lot, right? Whether you moved off VMware to Proxmox, or you moved off to whatever, or however you're moving, all of these systems now have like migration tools to get you off of VMware. Like if you want to use Nutanix, they have their own, like they call it a move appliance, but basically it's a thing that will connect to your VMware or your Hyper-V, and it will pull those workloads into your Nutanix thing. They all have, all of them, everybody's got a exfil out of VMware or Hyper-V into their platform, but none of them have a means for you to get that data out if you want to change again, right? So think of Proxmox. Proxmox is a good example. They've got it, they built in that VMware export tool, right? So you can export, it's slow as hell, but it does it. You get it into Proxmox, and now it's in a QCOW2 format. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna pull out the disk and convert it, give it to somebody else? Veeam, basically Veeam is really one I think of, is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of migration when it comes to virtual environments, because with them essentially supporting every hypervisor now, I mean, we're getting to the point where it's basically every big name hypervisor. You can move your workloads however you want. Migrate out of Nutanix and migrate it over to VergeOS, or to HyperCore, which is Scales, or back to Hyper-V. Just like, if there's anything that we learned from the VMware Exodus, it's that we need to make sure that we make decisions that don't tie us to a specific platform, because the platforms are not a safe haven anymore. I'm not saying that we're gonna, I hope that in my professional lifetime, VMware is the only company we see do a rug pull like that, right? I genuinely hope that that's something we don't ever see again. But like just Game Over Dave said in the chat, like portability should be king. We should have, whether it's a third-party tool like Veeam or something, we should have the ability to have that portability between whatever system we want, because we're no longer living in a world where you're going to be with VMware for the rest of your professional life. We're just not. And to say that we're going to be in any other platform forever is crazy talk. Like that's a big benefit. And I know I'm just sitting here talking. I'm not trying to sell you Veeam. I don't work for Veeam. I use PBS at home. That's my backup system. I'm on Proxmox. And so that's what I'm using the day in and day out. But it really is like, you gotta be thinking, how are you going to get that data out? Move the data in, buy your rack of gear, install Hyper-V on it, install whatever virtualization platform or install Kubernetes, bare metal Kubernetes on it, whatever you're going to do. But you need to make sure that you have a migration path for that data. And that's one thing that Veeam does. Anyway, so I'm working on that. That's the next big thing on here. And you can say, and more. But all of this is community driven too. So if you have problems or issues with Veeam, you got to go to the Veeam community. But the Veeam community is pretty active, pretty communicative. So that's worth it. But yeah. So what Shadow Technology said, my employer went from like $300K a year to over $1 million a year. Thanks, Broadcom. Yeah. So Shadow, when you walk into that your leadership's office, you say to them, "We're going to have a new strategy. And that strategy is going to be portability." Yeah. So it's just a thing. We got to live in this. We got to stay agile, friends. We got to stay on our feet. And so I'll be working on this. That'll be the next thing. We are close to running out of time here. So there's a few more things I wanted to talk with you guys about, something that Brandon and I have been working on, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So, and we'll also, this is something that I want to talk with the Discord and the after show. By the way, there's an after show. It's totally free. You could join and hop in and chat with everybody. A while back, we had a conversation in the Discord, and someone had brought up the comment about, like, well, you guys don't have a Patreon, or you don't have any like real effective means of like kicking you a few bucks a month. And I've always felt really weird about having a kind of like support me sort of thing. But we had this great conversation with a bunch of the guys in the the Discord. They're like, "Oh no, you should have something like that." So it was very touching, actually. It was one of those things that I said to Brandon afterwards. I'm like, I didn't know these people liked us that much. But so we've kind of come up with some things. This is not live yet, but I wanted to, and we'll probably, oh look, Dave, Rich. So this is, we're gonna launch a Patreon, but we're also keeping the YouTube support thing, and we're gonna change the way things are done. So I want just to talk these things. The thing about the Patreon one is that for $1 a month, I appreciate you, Dave. It really means a lot. For $1 a month, we're gonna put all of the YouTube videos that we make on Patreon ad-free. You just don't have to worry about using ad blockers, or if you have YouTube Premium, I guess it's fine. But they'll also be ad-free from 2GT stuff. I guess that's important. One of the things we like to do in the industry here, if you've haven't noticed, is we call them ad integrations, where it's not YouTube integrating the ad, it's Rich Tesla integrating the ad. And so those aren't like skippable necessarily, right? Because they're like right into the video, and then I hit you with an ad. So yeah, and it's Shadow, thank you. I appreciate that comment. I mean, that's the way we want to keep it too. But anyway, so we'll launch this, and we'll have to figure out how to do this on the YouTube side. But $1 a month will get you all of the videos. Every time we release a video, it'll be up concurrently on the Patreon with no ad and no ads at all. Next one is going to have ad-free videos. It's going to have the support. It's going to give behind the scenes stuff that you're going to get a Discord role. Anyway, there's these things are coming. And Brandon really wants me to put all the Patreon people names at the end of the video, like a roll credit sort of thing. I think it's kind of neat. You want your name or your handle? Watch it, Sakura. I'm not going to let you put anything inappropriate in there. And then the last one is basically all those same things. Plus, we want to do the giveaway of the Homelab gear STLs, the things that we make and sell. If you're in the $10 a month, you have access to the STLs, that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's coming. I would have Brandon speak more about it, but he's out doing some stuff tonight. So we'll talk about more about these things, but I do want to get everybody's opinion. So in the Discord here in a little bit, that'll be a thing to talk about. Change the subjects one last time. Can we just talk for a minute? Just a minute about this. Where's that? I'm an Apple user. I'm staring right into the camera while I say this. I have my iPhone. I think this is a 17. Shit, I don't remember what it is, but it's a Pro Max, whatever. And I love Apple. I do think that iOS is a superior mobile operating system, and we can fight in the comments about it. I'm happy that you're happy with your thing. But this thing is magic. This thing looks like science fiction. And I want one so bad. It is Sakura Samsung foldable tablet. It is a telephone, a 6.5-inch sized single display that folds into a full 10-inch mini tablet. I'm not going to click on the thing. But that's how thick the thing is. I remember watching Star Trek, the next STTNG, Star Trek: The Next Generation, when I was a kid, and I remember them walking around with their little tablets, right, in their little tricorders, and they're like beep beep beep, hit their badge, and they get to talk. Does this not feel like we've entered the future finally? The future, it's right here. This is the future. Apparently they couldn't fit the cameras in there because the cameras hang out the backside of it. But the other thing, though, it's not available in the U.S. till next year. It is available in Korea, and they think it's being sold in Korea right now from anywhere from the equivalent of $200 or $2,440 to $2,500. That's too much money to buy for a phone, guys. I think that this thing was $1,000, which is absurd. Things cost too much. The cost of rent is too damn high, friends, and the cost of technology like this is too damn high. But looking at this, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm looking at the chat now. It's just I want all the future technology that we were promised. I want flying cars, and I want like a phone that just goes boop, like an origami device and shows up, and there's all of the big screen, or put a display in my head that I can just like, yeah, I know we're getting dangerously close to Black Mirror episode here, but what can I say? Anyway, that thing is beautiful right there. And I don't know how it might be the thing that make me switch off Android or off iOS to Android, but not if it's $2,500. I can't. I just can't. My wife would murder me. Anyway. Oh, yeah, Sakura. No display in heads. Don't want unskippable ads while I sleep. Yeah, that's why I will never buy any Meta Ray-Ban glasses with the displays in them, because I swear you're going to be wearing those things. You're going to be driving in your car, and all of a sudden there's going to be an ad for something, and you're going to slam your car into the car in front of you because you'll have an ad pop up at the most inopportune time. The closer the displays get to our faces, the more dangerous it gets in terms of what those advertisements are. But anyway, all right, so let's bring this to a close, friends. Thank you for joining me. We will do this next week. I'm planning on wearing this silly hat at least the next few shows because it's the holiday season. It's very hot and it's itchy. It was $6 at my local grocery store, and so it feels like a $6 Santa hat. But let's get back on the main screen here. There we go. All right. Okay, friends. We're going to call it a night. We'll see you over in the Discord here in a little bit. If you want to join us, we'll see you there. And thanks for watching, hanging out, chatting. We will talk to you next week. See you guys.